working to connect a region of over 600 new bridges between our lands.
Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Maricar Velasco, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. On today's headlines, some 2 chartered flights are on standby to evacuate Filipinos from Hubei province who wish to return home amid the 2019 novel coronavirus outbreak in China. The Switzerland government donated on Tuesday 200,000 Swiss francs or 10.5 million pesos to the victims of Typhoon Ursula that barreled through the Philippines of December last year. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez has put forward the Philippines' interest to enhance trade and investment relations with trade officials from East Asian economies and Chile at the sidelines of the 50th World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Some 2 chartered flights are on standby to evacuate Filipinos from Hubei province who wish to return home amid the 2019 novel coronavirus outbreak in China. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Brigido Dulay said the Philippine government is coordinating with Chinese authorities on the ground for clearance. Dulay said on his official Twitter account, Secretary of Foreign Affairs Teodoro Locsin Jr. directed the consulate in Shanghai, China, to immediately start processing Filipinos in Hubei province who wish to be repatriated back to the Philippines. He said 2 private charter airlines are on standby to fly to Hubei to bring Filipinos back home upon clearance by Chinese authorities. The 2019 nCoV was believed to have originated in the city of Wuhan in Hubei. Based on a resolution issued by the Department of Health-led interagency group on 2019 nCoV, the repatriates will be subjected to 14 days of mandatory quarantine upon arrival in the Philippines. There is no timeline yet as to when the repatriation will begin, which is subject to China's rules on disease containment, including immigration clearance and quarantine process, among others. In a separate statement, Dulay said the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs offered to assist Filipinos and other foreign nationals with expired or expiring visas through their respective embassies and consulates. Filipinos who want to avail of the special flights from Hubei to the Philippines are advised to contact the Philippine Consulate General in Shanghai at country code 86-2182 country code 86-139174771112, or via email at shanghai.pcg@dfa.gov.ph or shanghai.pcg@hotmail.com. Meanwhile, Filipinos who wish to stay in the China are advised to heed advisories of local health authorities and cooperate with efforts to quell the further spread of 2019 nCoV. Foreign Affairs Undersecretary for Strategic Communications and Research Ernesto Abella echoed calls from the Chinese government on foreigners, including Filipinos, to seek immediate medical assistance when necessary. DFA USEC Brigido Dulay said the Filipinos from Hubei province, China, who want to come home can, as long as they voluntarily agree to place themselves under quarantine.
That any Filipino who wants to come home can come home, except that they will be placed under quarantine for 14 days, also for their own protection, as well as the protection of their families also. In that respect, they are all free to go. We are now asking our missions in China to now collate the number of Filipinos as well as the names of those who would like to come home under that condition.
In a separate briefing at Malacanang, Health Secretary Francisco Duque III said that there are 39 novel coronavirus-related health events that were reported to the Epidemiology Bureau of the DOH. These included 23 cases that considered influenza-like illness, but Duque explained that it is the season of influenza in the Philippines.
na po kayo makikinig ang DOH. Wala na po kayong dapat pakinggan dahil kapag inyo pong pinakinggan ang iba sa labas ng DOH ay malamang wala pong batayan, wala pong malinaw na basihan at bagkus ito po ay magdudulot ng pangamba, magdudulot ng kalituhan, magdudulot ng kaguluhan. At hindi po ito maganda para sa ating lipunan at this will not help stabilize a situation. Video of people collapsing, falling flat on their faces, purportedly because of COVID. I mean, like, meron bang date ito? Kailan ba ito kinuha? For all you know, this is only a fabrication. You know, it's very easy now with the technology. They can make something not real. Okay? So let's not sucker in to those fake news.
Concentration of people with respiratory infections, or you're visiting a crowded place, a wet market, you may want to wear a mask, but you don't need to routinely wear masks from morning till evening.
The Department of Health said there are at least 27 people in the country who have been considered patients under investigation for the novel coronavirus infection, and 3 of them so far have been discharged from hospitals after results show they are negative of the disease. This brings to 24 the current suspected novel coronavirus infections in the country, which are still awaiting confirmatory test results from either the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine in Taguig City or from Australia, specifically from the Victoria Infectious Disease Reference Laboratory.
As of today, 3 of the PUIs have already been discharged as their laboratory results revealed other diseases. DOH is now awaiting results for 13 PUIs from the Research Institute for Tropical Medicine for screening and 6 PUI laboratory results from the Victorian Infectious Disease Reference Laboratory for confirmation. During the Interagency Committee meeting, members resolved and agreed to ensure support for overseas Filipinos in China, as well as comprehensive transport and quarantine plans for overseas Filipinos from Hubei province who wish to voluntarily return to the Philippines. The committee also agreed on proposing temporary restrictions on the issuance of visas for travelers from Hubei province and issuing advisories temporarily discouraging non-essential travel to China. I wish to inform our kababayans that the government will take care of you whether you choose to stay or return home. And for those who choose to return, you will be taken care of in a health facility for monitoring and further medical management. For Filipinos who wish to stay in China, DOH reiterates adherence to advisories and cooperation with public health activities being done by local authorities. DOH will ensure that all Filipinos in other countries will receive sufficient information and health support through telemedicine. I urge the public to remain vigilant. Let us continue practicing good hand hygiene, observing proper cough etiquette, maintaining distance from people manifesting flu-like symptoms, cooking food properly, and adopting healthy lifestyles. So this is all for my press statement, and back to you, Yusek, Eric.
Health Secretary Duque stressed that as of now, there is still no confirmed novel coronavirus case and that there is no need to panic. He added that the case mortality rate for nCoV is also low at 2.3 to 2.9%, much lower than the 36% for MERS-CoV and the 10 to 12% for SARS-CoV. Senator Christopher Bongo on Tuesday assured that the government will provide comprehensive transportation and quarantine assistance to Filipinos who wish to return home from Wuhan City, China, amid the novel coronavirus outbreak. In a resolution released by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, returnees shall be quarantined for 14 days. Go said they must follow the protocol, 100% safety measures should be conducted, and nobody should be exempted. Meanwhile, Go urged authorities to strengthen safety protocols for foreign nationals entering the country to prevent the entry of the new coronavirus strain that has already reached Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Singapore, Australia, Malaysia, Thailand, Nepal, the United States, Canada, and France. The chair of the Senate Committee on Health said his panel will hold a public hearing Tuesday next week to discuss with concerned agencies the next steps to prevent the entry of the virus to the country. Officials from the DFA, CAB, Department of Health, as well as seaport and airport authorities will be present in the hearing. But even if there are no confirmed cases of 2019 nCoV infection in the country, Go urged the public to follow safety precautions to prevent transmission and spread of the virus. Go also added that the virus can be transmitted not just through direct exchange of body fluids. It can be transferred if there are droplets in the hands. Hence, hygiene and constant washing are very important. WHO spokesman gives an update on the Chinese SARS-like virus that has killed 106 people and infected 4,428 people in China since the beginning of the outbreak. Spokesman Christian Leinmeyer also confirms that 45 people have contracted the virus outside of China in 13 other countries.
Our self-protection is still the best possible way we can go about this. This virus behaves flu-like, and as it behaves flu-like, you can also protect yourself as it were against somebody having a flu. So just as the virus does live on surfaces, but not long. Not as long as we know from other viruses, for example. I don't have an example now, like it stays on surface, yes, but if you touch a door handle, for example, or I give you, I don't know, I would cough into my hand and then pass you my phone, immediately it could transfer. But if this stays for, and I don't have a time range, but fairly short, then there's no risk anymore. So if you pass by half an hour later, there should be not a problem anymore. This is maybe important also for the stories going around receiving parcels or packages from China. There should absolutely not be a problem associated to this. I think someone has to be.
Have a position on whether it's.
When visiting the Philippines, Manila or Quezon City is a popular destination. But oftentimes the hustle and bustle of the city can be more stressful on your vacation. So when you feel the need to reconnect to nature or relax again, there's a beautiful oasis just outside of the city called the Garden at Ciudad de Victoria. you can see here include hydrangea, snapdragon, and stargazers. They're truly beautiful. The gardens at Ciudad de Victoria are so peaceful, tranquil, and beautiful that it's become a haven for young couples and a very popular venue for engagement photos. The next time you want an escape from the big city, the garden at Ciudad de Victoria is a wonderful place to visit.
Welcome back. The Switzerland government donated on Tuesday 200,000 Swiss francs or 10.5 million pesos to the victims of Typhoon Ursula that barreled through the Philippines of December last year. The donation was coursed through the Philippine Red Cross and was received by its chairman, Senator Richard Gordon. Swiss Ambassador Alain Gastian said during his meeting with Gordon, this contribution is one of many efforts between Switzerland and its partners and shall help alleviate the plight of the people heavily affected by the natural calamity. He added they believe that the work of the Philippine Red Cross is instrumental in helping those affected by calamities to get back up on their feet and start anew. The organization is a strong addition to the Philippine government's efforts. According to a report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, Ursula has killed a total of 57 people and injured 369 others. The agency has pegged at 783,095 the total number of families affected by the deadly cyclone that battered Mimaropa, Mindoro, Marinduque, Romblon, Palawan, as well as the eastern and western Visayas. The contribution responds to the emergency appeal by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies for assistance to the typhoon's victims. The IFRC is the world's largest humanitarian organization and is based since 1939 in Geneva. Meanwhile, Gastian said Switzerland remains steadfast in its readiness to assist the Philippines when there is a need, as he also sent his sympathies to the victims of the recent Taal volcano eruption. Despite the lowering of Taal volcano's status to alert level 3, the number of families affected by its eruption has climbed to 109,054. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, in its 6 a.m. update Wednesday, said this is equivalent to 412,217 people residing in Batangas, Cavite, Laguna, and Quezon. Of this, 35,574 families or 125,178 individuals are being sheltered in 497 evacuation centers, while the remainder is said to be taking shelters in houses of their relatives and friends. The amount of assistance extended to affected families by the Department of Social Welfare and Development and Department of Health has so far reached 84 million pesos. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez has put forward the Philippines' interest to enhance trade and investment relations with trade officials from East Asian economies and Chile at the sidelines of the 50th World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. In a statement, the Department of Trade and Industry said its chief held bilateral talks with trade ministers of Japan, South Korea, and Chile, as well as Hong Kong's Secretary for Commerce and Economic Development, Edward Yao, last week. In a text message, Lopez told the Philippine news agency that his discussions with Korean Trade Minister focused on free trade agreements, while the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership and the Japan-Philippines Economic Partnership Agreement for a Japanese trade minister. He added for Chile, they discussed on a joint economic committee and starting off talks for a trading agreement or arrangement. Lopez also met top officials from Tyson Foods, Procter & Gamble, and Novartis in his trip in Davos last week. He attended the 50th WEF as well as the World Trade Organization related ministerial meetings from January 21 to 24. Lopez put forward agendas such as technologies in trade, investment facilitation, e-commerce, and agriculture during the forum. In the WTO-related ministerial meetings, he announced that the Philippines is joining the 98 WTO members in negotiations through the Joint Initiative on Investment Facilitation for Development. This aims to craft new WTO rules to boost investment flows worldwide. Lopez also attended an agriculture-related meeting on behalf of Agriculture Secretary William Dar. During the meeting, Lopez called on members to do reforms in market access to help countries like the Philippines reverse the damage caused by highly subsidized farm products globally. The Philippine peso slightly improved against the greenback on Tuesday, but Philippine shares were all down as concerns on the novel coronavirus from China continue. The local currency ended the day at 50.75 from 50.835 on Monday, which BPI research traced to lower global oil prices. It opened the day little changed at 50.9 from 50.88 the previous day and traded between 50.925 and 50.74, resulting in an average of 50.818. Volume totaled $778.1 billion US dollars, lower than the previous session's $787.95 billion US dollars. The currency pair is seen to trade between 50.60 and 51 on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index slipped anew by 1.57%, or 118.93 points to 7,468.70 points. All shares contracted by 1.33%, or 59.67 points to 4,435.67 points. Mining and oil registered the highest decline with 2.05%, which was trailed by the industrial 1.88%, property 1.6%, holding firms 1.59%, services 1.2%, and financials 0.62%. Volume totaled 579.04 million shares, amounting to 4.44 billion pesos. Losers led gainers at 121 to 65, while 42 shares were unchanged. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the Asean region. I'm Maricar Velasco and I am 1 with 25.